Hello, and thank you for watching Another Home Sold, a show about Wellesley real estate where you learn from the experts everything that you need to know whether you are getting ready to buy, sell, and maintain your current property. My name is Stephen Verdelli, and I'm with Lair Realty Partners on Washington Street in Wellesley. Today we are so fortunate to have JJ Przybylski, the CEO founder of Mastadon Moving, a local Boston-based moving company. JJ, thanks so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve.
I know it's a super busy time of year for you guys right now. JJ, we probably met, about a year ago when you helped out a client of mine with a long distance move. And I was so impressed having met you and knew that the company was yours, that you had founded it and everything like that. Tell me a little bit about how you, or everybody that's watching, how you actually got into the moving business.
Well, so I was doing landscaping. I hated it. I wasn't good at it. And my brother was working for a moving company. That's what he did during college. And one day he called me, said, "Do you want to come move?" And for $20 an hour. And I was like, absolutely. I would love to do that. And it was double what I was already making. And then I went and I liked it first day. The second day, the boss sent me all the way to Philadelphia for a 23-hour move. That was my second day of moving. So that's how I got introduced to the moving industry, and then I was kind of hooked after that.
Wow. So you went from landscaping to moving. Second day, you're on a 23-hour move out of state.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. And how did you come up with the name? Because the name is so great.
Yeah, the name is fun. And so when I was a mover at another moving company, basically me and this other guy had talked about starting a moving company together, and we, joking about names, and all different things. And so one day he said, "Hey, how about Mastadon Moving, the oldest dinosaurs in the business?" And I just thought it was great at the time. And then about a year later, I called him. I said, "Hey, I'm going to actually do this and start the company. Can I use that name still?" And he said, "Absolutely, go for it." So
That's
and
awesome.
That's how pretty much it came to be.
That's great. That's great. So let's talk a little bit about moving. So the first thing is somebody says, I've been in my house for 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, 5 years, still a long time to accumulate a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. What is the first step that people do in their homes? Because when I go in and I say, okay, we need to start to declutter things, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You go in, and what's the first thing you tell them to actually start their move?
Well, first, again, I'm going in there to see what their goals are, where they might be going. If they're going to be paring down, then I'm going to tell them what steps they can take. So if they like to do it themselves, they can start to make dump runs. They can start to, sell some things, to call consignment companies. Again, it really depends on what their end goal is, because sometimes people want to bring everything. Even when I want to try to convince them, you might not want all these items, but it's sometimes going from a smaller house to a bigger house, so they don't need to do that as much. So again, it really is all dependent on what their project is going to be and what they have in mind.
So JJ, you are an owner-operator and you are very involved, clearly. I mean, you're going out, you're meeting with clients, you're moving, I know you're driving trucks, you're doing anything that needs to be done. And your company has grown so rapidly in just the past couple of years that I've known you. What are your plans to continue to grow this company?
So the main goal of the company was always to stay small. The reason to stay small is you can be much more specialized and you can show a greater quality of service. So when you have a smaller crew, the people that you're working with will know those crews. Our referral partners, like to see the same guys, and it's really, a powerful thing when everybody's on the same page. The whole point of the company is to be that boutique feel, during the moving process, and actually give a positive experience rather than, the kind of the frights that go along with moving, so we can try to remove those as much as possible.
Moving is a very high stressful time. Everybody knows who has made a move. I can personally say I know your guys, they're consistently there. They're always consistent and professional. One of the things that I was so most impressed with is the last move that I referred you to. They had some significant artwork, if you remember that. Mm-hmm. Very expensive artwork that I was a little hesitant about and questioning how they were going to move it. And you guys we're great about it. Tell me a little bit about that.
So being a company that handles all aspects of moving, art is often something that comes up, quite often. So when you have high value art, I always recommend crating. And the reason for that is if you put it in a cardboard box, first of all, if it's canvas, you could have something stick to the canvas and ruin the canvas. Also, if a load shifted, in a truck, it could crush it, or have something stab through it, or it could be just as simple as someone walking down the stairs and slipping. So it's really worth it when you have high value art to get custom made crates so that they are in wooden boxes and that they cannot be damaged. This is people's valuables and it's also their investments. So you want to make sure that you're taking the proper care.
So what you're suggesting is wooden boxes, crates for each piece of valuable equipment. Can you put 2, 3 paintings in a box?
So generally, like the last client, they had some really big pieces, and it's not worth it to put 2 in a box or in a crate because it's just not going to mesh right, and also it's going to be a lot of wood because those pieces were really large. So as we did it on that one, we had to do multiple crates. So we had 7 separate crates. One actually was small, 2 were small enough and the same size so that we could put them in the same crate. That was a custom-made crate. But generally, they're going to be in their own, and especially with statues, things like that, they're always going to be created, custom made for their own.
In addition to that art move, that was also a whole East Coast move. That was a snowbird we sold a place in South Florida to. Let's talk a little bit about that, because you are a local company, but you're not restricted to only making moves here. You guys can go anywhere. Correct.
So obviously, our clientele, we want to make sure that we can service, whatever their needs might be. And that obviously comes up with long distance moving. It happens all the time. People are wanting to downsize or, just kind of, get out of New England and get away from the snow or whatever it might be. So the way that we handle it is that we are loading the truck, whether it's our truck or a rental truck, or that whether we've worked with a contractor. But the point is that our guys are going to be the ones that load it, pack it, and then also we fly down and unload it at the other end so that you can have the same guys and you can feel comfortable that everything's being handled correctly and also everything is happening the way it should.
That's a huge peace of mind in making this type of a move, especially with this type of expensive artwork. You discussed previously a little bit about prepping your house for a move. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So a good example is the Florida move that we did. And also those people were very nervous, because they know they've had the horror stories of long distance moves. And
They're doing fine now, though. They're doing all right.
They are doing good. But for their house, that was a particular one that we had to do a lot of home prep. They had it was stone floors when you walked into the house. You had really nice banisters that had just been refinished. There had wood floors, off the kitchen and into the family room. So what you really have to do is make sure that it stays new. As you get there. So when we start to come in with our home prep, we first are taking our shoes off and switching to indoor shoes. We're then putting sticky mats down. We're then putting floor rubberized runners down the halls, up the stairs, and then we're covering walls where there's corners, things like that, covering the banisters, the doorways, all of that. It's all to make sure that the house stays without damage throughout the whole moving process.
Yep. This was tough. This was a big house in Beacon Hill. That was not an easy move.
No.
And you guys did it. You talk a little bit about moving for people moving from one house to another, which is always important. What about when you're dealing with contractors where there's been a situation where somebody needs to move out of the house, they plan on moving back into the same house, but they're doing some type of remediation in the property?
Yeah, sure. So that's a great point. So often when people are doing remodels, especially right now, we've got low inventory. So what are people doing? They're staying in their house and they're remodeling or renovating. So for the remodels, people don't think about what they're going to do with their furniture. They're thinking, oh, they want this new kitchen. They've got this whole new wing that they're going to do and so forth. But that's a great time to bring us in because we want to make sure that everything is cleared out. Number one, you got the contractor in there that's going to have subcontractors. So if the table's just covered, they might just put their tools right on it and scratch that table. They often are moving things 2-3 times, and it's just not worth it. You have dust everywhere. Things are being falling from the ceiling, whatever it might be. So that at this point, it's the best to pack it all up, inventory it, put it into storage, and then when it's all the work is finished, we redeliver it. And the same thing goes for remediation companies. When you have a pipe burst or something like that, we'll come in, pack it all up, put it into storage, and then redeliver it once the work has been repaired.
That's a huge help to any family. I mean, living through a renovation is not easy. So tell me a little bit about, where do you store the inventory, people's belongings, when this move is going on, or this sort of renovation where they have to move out? Sometimes they're moving to a hotel for a month. Sometimes they're renting another house. I've done that plenty of times, where people, move somewhere for 6 months. They take kind of their basic necessities. Sometimes they rent furniture, but the rest of their belongings are either half in the house and half in storage.
Right.
Where does this go?
Yeah, so that is often the case, that you have someone go to a temporary living situation during renovation. So what we do is we have our own climate-controlled, high-security storage facility. We have 10,000 square feet, so we're able to bring in an entire house. We inventory per vault. Our vaults are 7 by 7 by 5, and we, as I said, inventory per vault so that we can find items. Say this happens in the summer and the project goes longer. You need your winter coats or your winter boots. We have an inventory system where we're able to go and find those within, if it's 10 vaults of an entire house, we're able to find which vault has those items, and then we can deliver them to you.
That's great.
So that's a big thing.
Your guys, I've got to say, are so professional, and they do such a good job, and they're so courteous about, making their moves with people. What type of training are you providing them in order to sort of foster this sort of professionalism?
Sure. So first of all, I went through lots and lots of guys. The reason being is I'm very particular on who I'm going to hire. First, they have to be they have to be really personable with the client. We have to be easygoing and flexible. You also have to understand where people are coming from. As you said, it's a very stressful time. Whether it's for a remodel project or it's a regular move, house to house, it's still a very stressful time. So we have to try to understand those emotions and connect to them and try to make them feel better. If you don't have guys that are going to connect to the client, you're not going to have a successful project, even if nothing goes wrong as far as the furniture. So one thing that we do is we have monthly meetings, actually we have bi-monthly meetings that we are having everybody come. We do training sessions whether we're talking about clothes, we talk about brands, we talk about recognizing certain pieces of art so that we can treat them in a different way. We also talk about our referral partners, as I mentioned before, is the people that refer us on a constant basis, and knowing who those people are and how the clients came to be, because it's important that we're making sure that that relationship continues.
That's awesome.
Because if they don't have if they have that disconnect, then we're not going to have successful projects, because they don't know how far this can go as far as who that came from. So
it also allows them to play their part. They know what they're doing, makes them part of the whole overall move, and really take ownership of that.
Absolutely.
So you guys do a lot of classroom training. You guys are also going on a whole paperless initiative.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, the moving industry in general is stagnant. It's been that way for years. Everything has been the same for 100 years. So when I got into this business, I thought, I want to change as much of it as possible, in a positive way, and make it more efficient and so forth. The Paperless Initiative is us doing all of our, on-site paperwork and off-site paperwork, through iPads, and being able to have it in a FileMaker Pro system where we're able to, see all the moves that we've done, all the estimates that we've done, inventories for the clients that we have in storage, and a number of other things that we use for also, with networking and so forth. And really, it's to help us be much more efficient. When you have an entrepreneur brain, you have so many different ideas of what you want to have done. And so if you can have a system that interlocks them and are able to capture all those ideas and different things that you need to get done on a daily basis, it's really helpful and it's progressive.
Great, great. JJ Przybylski of Mastadon Moving, whether you're moving from Weston to West Palm Beach or Wellesley to Watertown, he can help you out. It's www.mastadon.com, 774-421-9004. We'll have all of their information on our Facebook page and Instagram as well. JJ, thanks so much for coming on
Thank
today.
you for having
this
me.
was really great.
Absolutely.
And you do free estimates for
Yeah,
people?
absolutely. Always.
So people can just call you up. You can come out, talk to them about it, and get some information that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, we'll have all of the information on our website, on our Facebook page as well. JJ, again, thank you so much. I know this is a really busy time for you. Thanks so much for watching Another Home Sold. If you're thinking of listing, buying, selling, we can help you out. Steve Verdelli with Lair Realty Partners. You can follow us on Facebook at Another Home Sold / Steve Verdelli Instagram page, or on YouTube at Another Home Sold. Thanks for watching, and remember, home is one of the nicest words there is.